This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thank you everybody for joining us wherever you are. We do appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. And you know, we're starting to see more sports come back, some actual sports here in the United States. And that includes Major League Baseball, which started back up. But one of the big issues with live sports is, what do you do about the fact that there are no fans there? Well, Fox Sports has teamed up with Silver Spoon to create virtual fans. We're going to talk right now to the managing director of Silver Spoon. We've got Dan Pack here. Dan, thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
This is, I'm excited that sports are back, I just have to admit. But yes, seeing how this is all coming to fruition is really fascinating. Can you tell us about what it is you're doing here with Fox Sports to bring back that fan element?
Absolutely. So we're basically populating empty stadiums with virtual fans that we created in 3D right here on our motion capture stage here in Brooklyn, and then running through another application called Unreal Engine, something that you might be familiar with if you've ever played Fortnite. Mm-hmm. And then also running that through another AR application called Pixatope, live, completely real time in response to what is happening in the game.
Okay, a few questions on there. So you mentioned motion capture. Were these actually captured by, these real people that you have scanned?
Basically. So what we do is we create first all the characters digitally. We model them in 3D. And then we actually bring people into our studio here in Brooklyn and just go through a bunch of different motions. We capture, it's movie technology, and it's what we use when we're doing a film or TV or a video game. And we're taking that motion, we're applying it to a bunch of different avatars, and then using that to populate the stadium.
And so you're doing this now when the broadcast is actually going. This is in real time. It's populated the stadium. But you mentioned, these avatars are able to react with what's going on. What is the technology behind that? How are you reacting to something that's actually happening in real time?
So we basically built out a very advanced UI that allows the controller to basically select from a bunch of different defined reactions. And so we can control it down to various movements from each of the characters in the crowd. But when combined, it can create, again, the feeling of a crowd booing or a crowd cheering or a crowd just reacting to a foul ball.
Fascinating. So there is somebody whose job it is to actually run that UI and watch the game and be like, okay, this should be a booing moment right here, or this should be a cheering moment.
Right. Absolutely. It still comes down to human operator to trigger those cues, but we've made it really easy for them to do it. What we're doing here is not really kind of rocket science. It's nothing new. It's video game technology that we've used for years in recording motion capture for games, but then applying that to a different purpose, applying that to a real-time broadcast.
You mentioned that you can control it all the way down to the level of like an individual person on there. So that's something that, as this kind of rolls out and develops, that's something that somebody will be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can control literally everything that has to do with the makeup of that crowd, what they're wearing, what they're doing, literally even the time of the day. We actually have a function that ties in the direction of the sun at the time of year, at the time of day, to make sure that the lighting on the crowd matches the real world weather.
That is incredible. And this is going to be something for every stadium. You can populate whatever the stadium is, I'm assuming. And now you mentioned you can change up, the appearances. So is this something they're going to do, like whether it's the home crowd in Baltimore or wherever, just have the whole crowd would be like in those, orange and black?
Absolutely. We could really, what's really cool is that we can change the logos that they're wearing, the colors of the shirts that they're wearing. If we all wanted them to appear all in blue instantly, the entire crowd, we could instantly make that change. But again, I think it's important to remember that our goal here is not to call attention to the crowd, but just not to call attention to a bunch of empty seats.
Yeah, to add in that element that people are used to, and so it's a very elaborate background, essentially.
Exactly. It's adding atmosphere, and I always make the relationship or the analogy to watching a sitcom without the laugh track. So if you've ever done that, it always kind of feels a little bit empty. Jokes fall on kind of dead air, and that's what's happening with with live sports in the last few months. it's just it's a little off-putting not to see anybody there or not to feel the crowd there. It actually takes your attention, I feel, a little bit more away from the game.
Yeah, I agree because you're looking at that negative space there where it's just a bunch of empty seats, and yeah,
Right.
it would be
Totally.
distracting. Now with this, with this platform that you put out, I got to ask, are there any Easter eggs hidden within this crowd that maybe you guys put in there?
There's a few things, a few things that you guys will just have to take a look for. I don't want to reveal what they are, but we've definitely planted some fun things in the crowd.
Awesome. Now that's what I'm going to be studying as pictures of this as soon as the games start rolling out. Well, looking for.
You might even find yourself in there too.
Oh, hey, okay. Now I'm definitely going to be searching. Uh, well, looking at it from that standpoint, and how you're rolling this out, with Major League Baseball, do you see this being integrated with maybe some other sports or other forms of entertainment as we try to figure out this going forward? Maybe concerts?
Again, I think there's a lot of application to sports and live entertainment. The feeling of a crowd can't really be replaced. And so, I think this is the beginning of seeing more of this type of integration, and even just more integration of using 3D graphics in a live broadcast. Mixed reality has been around for a while. Pre-COVID, wasn't used as extensively, and I think now there's just an opportunity to create that infrastructure to do more of those really exciting things in real time on live TV.
Now you mentioned, talking about Unreal Engine and Fortnite and those kinds of things. Could you foresee a time where somebody at home could actually, rent one of the avatars and be able to control it themselves?
100%. I think there's always, what's really great about the engine is that there is so much flexibility to customize and do that in real time. I think that's the fun of working with an engine as powerful as Unreal, is that it just provides all of these possibilities to work in real time and to make really compelling content on the fly.
It is really exciting what you're doing here. I mean, none of us anticipate a pandemic. This isn't how anybody wanted things to go, but I mean, this is how it is. And the technology that's adapting to it is really, really cool. Things like what you were doing here with this. I mean, it's groundbreaking stuff, and it's definitely going to be interesting watching these games and seeing that element. Right now, probably the first game, I'm going to be focused on the crowd until I get back to the game, but then it'll go back into the background because I want to see what you've done with this. Well, Dan, I want to say thank you very much for joining us here to talk about this too. Really appreciate it and everything you're doing.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time and thanks for your interest, and play ball, I guess.